Who's gonna miss me when I'm gone? Who's gonna say if I was right or wrong? Who's gonna cry for me too long? Who's gonna miss me when I'm gone? Who's gonna say the things I said? Will the wine poured o'er my grave be sweet and red? Who'll love my kids and keep them fed? Who's gonna miss me when I'm dead? Who's gonna miss me when I've died? Will my enemies laugh out loud or give a sigh? Those who knew me, will they cry? Who's gonna miss me when I die? Who's gonna need me for too long? Who'll even care when I'm dead and gone? Who's gonna miss me when I die? I watch from above to see who'll cry. Who's gonna miss me when I'm gone? Who's gonna say if I was right or wrong? Who's gonna cry for me too long? Who's gonna miss me when I'm gone? Who's gonna miss me when I'm gone?
Maritza, what do you remember about Cesar Chavez?
Well, I knew him, and I remember him always with my dad, and I was always with my dad. So I got to see Mr. Chavez a lot. And I remember him being very kind and very pleasant. And he wanted to help the farm workers so they can have more dignity in what they did.
Hi, we're here with Bill Mahoney. Bill is a native of Arizona, like Cesar Chavez. Knew him quite a few years and worked with him, as a matter of fact, was his lawyer.
Yes.
And Bill's going to share some thoughts about this man, Cesar Chavez, who we are remembering through this program. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, I met Cesar during a rather hectic campaign in 1956. I was running for Congress against John Rhodes, and it was quite a tussle. And one day, one of my friends said, "Bill, there's a Mexican-American fellow on the south side of Phoenix going day and night for you, supporting you." And I said, "Well, who is he?" And he said, "Well, his name is Cesar Chavez." I said, "No kidding." So I went down the south side and found Cesar, and we became great, great friends. And I've had something to do with Cesar's life, God rest his soul, ever since then. I was his attorney here in Arizona for years. You know, the big growers, of course I'm a Democrat, a left-wing Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
The big growers were trying to just get him clear out of the picture here in Arizona. And we were in lawsuits and all kinds of arguments over a period of years. And I had, and he was in my home at receptions on several occasions. And I don't think I ever met a more beautiful human being than Cesar. He was not sanctimonious. He was a man of the world, and yet he had this mission to do, and he was bound and determined to do it. And I also, at the time this election was going on, learned that two very powerful Mexican-American leaders of Los Angeles, whom I knew, had sent him over without ever calling me or notifying me to help me. And that was the way that we met. And in many respects, over the years, over all those years, I was involved with Cesar, defending him, as I mentioned before, so that his great, great work on behalf of his people could be carried out in my native state.
Mm-hmm.
Every night when I go to bed, I say a little prayer for Cesar. And you know, along with his holiness, and I want to emphasize that term, he had a vaulting sense of humor, and he was just an all-around lovely, lovely human being. We do miss him very much, and both in California and Arizona and all over our country, where people that are kept down by politicians and governments can survive as well as he did.
Yeah, the important impact that he had with nonviolence, too.
That's right. It was. It was. It was nothing loud or forcible or, you know, difficult about. The program was very difficult. It was an uphill go all his life.
Mm-hmm.
But he won more and more people, I think, of all kinds, of all persuasions, and of all religions, because of the kind of a human being he was. And I would think that, well, we all miss him very, very much.
My name is Cesar Chavez. I was born just south of Yuma, Arizona, and I come from a heritage of campesinos and poor farmers. Families work together to provide for one another. Only then can we have enough to eat and survive.
Muchachos, ya basta. Ándele, no se flojos. El algodón no esperan a nadie. Búscale, arroz todos. ¡Vamos!
Campesinos trabajan muy duro, existir en el campo no es fácil. Estos días tan largos y tristes, asadón y sudar son mi vida. En rodillas y besos por día, anheloso que cambie mi vida, esperanza de ser un ángel que pelee por ley de la gente. Si estuviera aquí nuestro Salvador, yo sé que nos hiciera más amor y menos penas, y estuviéramos más contentos. Con esto me despido, amigos y familias, unidos todos hermanos, el sueño de campesinos.
Ese es el sueño de campesinos. Así es la vida. Arránquensela, muchachos.
Campesinos trabajan muy duro, existir en el campo no es fácil. Estos días tan largos y tristes, asadón y sudor son mi vida. En rodillas y rezo por día, anheloso que cambie mi vida.
¡Arriba la huelga!
Esperanza de ver un ángel que pelee por ley de la gente.
¡Ganan, muchachos!
No le tengas miedo a las viles.
El algodón no pica.
Si estuviera aquí nuestro Salvador, yo sé que nos dijera más amor y menos penas, que estuviéramos más contentos. Con esto me despido, amigos y familias, unidos todos hermanos, el sueño de campesinos.
¡Órale, no se dejen!
Unidos todos hermanos, el sueño de campesinos. Unidos todos hermanos, el sueño de campesinos. Ah.
¡Que no te dejes!
Antes, Benito.
¡A toda madre! 30 minutes. That's all you got. We must harvest all day. So eat and get back.
And is that how you remember him too?
Cesar had a unique ability, and when I say unique, I mean everybody says it's unique about everybody, but unique ability to basically be able to cut through all the BS and get down to what the problem is. He had a sense of being able to tell what an individual was like, what his character was like. I know that he had this ability instantly to kind of instantly tell what kind of person he was dealing with, without having heard that person say too much. I know that from what I've heard in union experiences, that there was many people that came and went with the union, and he knew which ones were going to stay and which ones were going to go, which ones commitment was there and which ones weren't. You know, if there's one thing that I think I remember him from in terms of a lesson that guides me in life, it's that there's nothing that comes without suffering. Nothing and no change can be created without suffering. It's an integral part of creating change. There's no such thing as luck. There's no such thing as surrounding yourself with good people. There's no such things as having money to resolve problems. There is no change that will come in this world without suffering. It's an integral part, it's an essential part of creating change.
And for people out there, especially students, they have to realize that to do things proper and to get the proper education, just like Cesar said, you've got to suffer some. You've got to really put up with some pressures and be able to do it.
You know, it's funny, Jim, because you mentioned education, and I know he was close to education. But during the last few times that we talked, I sort of got a sense that education was a double-edged sword. It had both a negative and a positive aspect to it. You know, some of his kids went on to college, some of his kids didn't go off to college. I think he saw the effect both ways. I think that he saw in education something that could benefit people and pull them out from conditions that they lived in that weren't the best. But also he saw in education a pull that took you away from the kind of values and the kind of family values and the kind of personal values that are the beautiful things that we have in our life. You know, and so many of us have seen someone go off to college to get an education and then come back and they've changed. And you don't see that commitment anymore to family. You don't see that commitment to the kind of things that are going to make people better people themselves.
So the important thing is to go ahead and get educated, but to keep those values,
Sure.
to understand how strong the family is. Ben, how did Cesar Chavez affect your life personally? How are you different now from knowing Cesar Chavez?
Well, I know one thing is that I think that you have to have a commitment to what you believe in. You have to look within yourself and ask yourself, am I being as honest of a person as I can be? and I'm being honest with myself, and before, and then turn that outward, and then have that manifest itself in trying to create some change, because you know, he dealt with people in a very honest fashion, and he let people know exactly where he was at and where he was going.
I think the thing that I remember most about Cesar was the way he was when he wasn't in front of the microphone or in front of the TV camera, the way that he acted when it was, you know, in very personal relationships with people. And I think that's what I admire him the most for was his...
Describe that. What kind of person was he?
I think he was a very, very kind, very gentle man. And the thing that really impressed me about him was that he was a very caring man. You never saw him treat anybody rude. You never saw him treat anybody unfairly. He was a very caring, outgoing man. And I think that many times people take really caring and gentleness as kind of a sign of weakness. But I think people who mistook Cesar for being that, found out the hard way that he was a very kind man, but if you were doing something that he didn't agree with, he would let you know right away and really put you on the spot. And that was very impressive to me. I had never met anybody that kind before or since.
So he was kind, but he didn't back down.
No, he was a very strong-willed man. He knew where he stood on everything, and he let you know it.
How did Cesar, and you were basically grew up, a lot of your life's been involved with Cesar, how did he change your life? I mean, how have you said a positive way that Cesar Chavez has affected your life?
I think he was a real good role model in the sense that you didn't have to be really hard all the time. You know, I think a lot of times growing up in the inner city with all of the bad things that happen, like gang violence and that type of thing, you tend to, your emotions get real hard in order to survive. And I think that a lot of times, the more you care, the more you get hurt by different things. And I see a lot of people my age that, you know, through the years have become less and less feeling. And I think he was the type of person that you could see that was the exact opposite. I mean, he was extremely caring and extremely thoughtful and extremely kind and friendly. And that it was okay to do that. That I think I saw from him that if you take care of people, other people will take care of you.
Right.
And that's one of the main things that I try to do in my life is that you don't have to be hard all the time, that you can be caring about people and you don't have to worry about being hurt because the people that count will be that way with you too.
So this is a message we need in our community right now too. I mean, with so many people who think that having feelings, like you say, makes them weak, but actually having feelings and caring actually supports the community and supports yourself and makes you really a part of their lives.
Yes.
So it's been great visiting with you, John, and thanks
Thank
for
you.
reminiscing about Cesar Chavez with us.
Thank you.
Cesar, mijito, you better eat your food. We only have 20 more minutes.
Yes, Mother.
I'm still hungry, Mother.
Yo también, mamá.
The mayordomo and the others eat like kings. Why can't we? Are we different?
You have to work hard to get somewhere, Cesar. Things are not given to you just because. Besides, we are
I don't care that we are Mexican, Mother. Our people owned this land, didn't they? My mother has always taught us to be respectful. My father has taught us to be proud of our heritage. We come from an ancient culture, and that we lost our lands to the European who conquered the Aztecs. My mother tells me that my blood is both Indian and European.
We may be poor, mijo, but you were born of a proud and noble race. Use your ancestors' will and strength to help our pueblo.
Sario, we are Americans,
when we are called, we must serve to help protect this land. Perhaps then we will be accepted. We must shed our blood like Jesucristo to truly belong. Don't let these gringos push you around. You can do it. You're my nephew. Hey, in the meantime, let's go pick some lechuga, some lettuce.
If that's what it takes, we must. I hate war. There must be a better way.
Hi, I'm here with Bill Soltero, union leader. Bill, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
We're talking about Cesar Chavez. Bill, tell us when you first met Cesar Chavez.
Well, first I heard of this good man that was trying to form a union in California for farm workers, and knowing the history of the farm workers' struggle. Come 1964, his brother come looking for somebody that could help Cesar in Arizona. And I told his brother Richard, I said, I want to meet the crazy man that wants to organize the farm workers. It had been tried before many times, and I wanted to meet him, and I got to meet him about 1964.
And tell us a story. How do you best remember Cesar Chavez?
Well, there's many things that I remember. They were all good and very few bad. And I go back, especially the fast of '72, I think was the turning point for us, the Mexicans in the state, to see that we could make a difference, especially in politics. If you remember, at that time we registered 168,000 new registered voters. The following election, we were able to put, for the first time, a number of legislators, senators, and all because of Cesar Chavez's fast, and because he was protesting Governor Williams signing the law that made it impossible for farm workers to have a union of their choice. Cesar had asked the governor for 5 minutes. The governor left town, and that's when he began his fast in 1972.
You know, you've been through so much with Cesar Chavez, including a very famous incident where you were both in a plane wreck.
Yes, we were invited to meet with President Portillo in Nogales, Sonora. So a bunch of campesinos and friends of Cesar had went down that morning to Nogales, Sonora, and we had went up to pick Cesar up. He was having a seminar in King City, California, and Tom Miranda, who's a prominent attorney here in Phoenix, had a plane. He took me up there. We picked him up, and we left the plane unattended, and they sabotaged the right wing. They turned off the gas on it and disconnected the brakes, and we didn't know it. Here we come, and that day it was cloudy, and we finally got to Gila Bend, where we could see the desert. And Tom, with his experience, he'd been a flyer in the Vietnam War, and we crashed there in Gila Bend, and that was the end. We didn't go see Portillo. Cesar said, I guess I'll head for home.
A pretty close call on that one.
It was very close. I'll never forget that one.
Bill, I know that you know your remembrances are many, but tell us, how did Cesar directly affect your life? How did he change knowing this man?
Well, it's strange. My father was deported from this country when my mother was pregnant from twins. In fact, one of them is Senator Soltero now here in the state of Arizona. And he was an organizer in the mines at that time, the Wobbly. So I have always been very interested in unions. But I never did have the sense that Cesar gave me. He put something into me that I didn't have. He put this nonviolence business, negotiate, and organize, get close to the people. And I learned this, and at that time I had quite a big organization myself, and it helped me run my own organization. We were able to have 9,000 members, and I was the head of 2 or 3 other unions. And because of Cesar, I believe that I became a hell of a good representative.
Mm-hmm. And more effective leader, you know.
Oh, yes, no question about it. There was only two persons in my life that could change my mind when I'd make it up. One was my mother, and the other was Cesar Chavez. That's how close he was to me.
You might say the same thing about you too, Bill.
Well, he was very close. He was very dear. He was more than a friend. He was a brother. He was my teacher. He was everything, everything.
Well, Bill, thank you for remembering some of these things with us, and good to see you again.
Okay, thanks for having me here, Jim.
Bye, teacher. Bye, teacher. Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher. Bye, teacher.
Well, Cesar,
Yes, ma'am?
I'm a little worried about you.
Me? Why?
I think you have been daydreaming too much, Cesar. And your studies?
My studies? I'm not failing, am I?
Oh, of course not, Cesar. But you have this far-off look in your eyes.
Far off look? Not far enough, ma'am. Not far enough.
Is he all right, Rose?
Yes, I think.
Will they ever learn?
I don't know, but this one might. I have that feeling.
Damn it, Caesar, school's not all that important anyway. We gotta help our family like we've done, and like our grandfather did.
Yeah, Cesar. What's so important, books or living?
He wants to go to school like a good little boy, and then he'll leave his parents without any help.
Living is important, but books teaches us ways to live better. Many people before us have lived worse than we have. We must learn from their experiences. Yeah? Like who? Like Gandhi, like Jesus Christ.
Gandhi? What? Who?
He was a great man. He hated violence. He freed his country by nonviolence.
Yeah, right.
He did. It's in the books, remember? Books?
Hi, Mr. Jones. See you later, Cesar.
You read them things, boy?
Yes, Mr. Jones. You know what my name is?
Why, I declare, it skips my mind, boy.
My family has been working for you for a long time. My name is Cesar.
Well, shoot, so it is. How well you know that them books have done you any good?
Well,
What do you know, boy?
well, I know that you're a farmer by what you grow, and soon you will know who I am by the fruits of my labor.
You read that somewhere, boy?
Yes, sir, the Bible. But you know what? You should read it sometime.
Why? Are you telling me I don't read the Bible?
Oh, no, sir. I'm just suggesting that you should read it sometime. Understanding comes from reading, and this world needs a lot of it. You know what, Mr. Jones?
What,
Caesar.
Caesar?
Someday, not right now, but someday, my people will unite to better themselves. A manifest destiny of the pueblo.
Dadgummit, boy. Caesar. Dadgummit. Well, just dadgummit.
Yes, sir, just dadgummit.
Damn little squirt. He told me.
Hello, sweetheart. Lunch is ready. What's the matter?
That little Chavez boy. He just let me know something.
He is a smart alecky.
Hold on there, girl. I got a feeling about this Mexican. He's gonna be somebody.
He won't amount to anything, just like the rest of those Mexicans.
Oh, now, honey. He was just telling me something, I think. Come on, I'm real hungry. Darn boy. He was telling me something. Yep. I'm sure he's going to amount to more than just a hill of beans. Yep. Fruits of his labor. Damn. Forgot to ask him about all the ideas he's been putting in the kids' minds. Ah, fruits of his labor.
I'm here with Dr. Jose Nanez from ASU, professor of psychology, and our topic today is Cesar Chavez. Good to see you, Jose.
Good to see you, Jim.
Tell us how you best remember Cesar Chavez.
Well, I first met him as a teenager and as a young adolescent in California. I come from a farm worker family. We were working in the fields at that time in Northern California. And he was giving a speech trying to organize farm workers in their struggle for better conditions in the fields. And I remember that day very clearly. There were hundreds of people in the crowd that he was speaking to, but I remember feeling as though he was speaking directly at me and telling me that I could make a difference, that I could structure my life through education, through hard work, so that later on I could make a difference and be able to help people in my community.
And you worked with the farm workers after that too, right?
Yes, interestingly, from that day on, my work with the farm workers started to take off, and it's become a lifelong commitment to work for farm workers. I decided that I was going to make a difference because he told me that I could make a difference.
How did that make you feel as a kid? To be, helping and meeting new people in your community. How did it make you feel?
It changed my life. It changed my life because up till then I was like pretty much just hanging out and working in the fields, going to school, but I really didn't seem to have any reason to get involved with anything deeply. And I became very involved. I became very excited about what I was doing. It gave me a reason to go out there and just really, really hustle because I felt that I was helping others and I was making a difference.
It made you feel good and it was fun too, and you really know you're making a difference, huh?
Yeah, it was, I remember it being a lot of fun. Yes, I do. And of course, when you're young and you know that you can make a difference and you're actually doing something to make a difference, that makes you feel really good.
And it's nice to know that kids can make a difference and how much that helped out the community too.
Yes, in fact, I am now a child psychologist. I'm a doctor of child psychology. And one of the reasons that I became a child psychologist is because I know that we can decide early and change people's life if we tell them early enough, like Cesar Chavez told me, that I could make a difference, that I should better my life through education so that I could come back later and help others. And I feel that that's what I'm doing by work. I work with kids. I still work with the farm workers, more involved now than ever.
Jose, can you relate a story to his remembrance at personal contact you might have had with Cesar Chavez?
He could have been a very rich man if he wanted to. Keep in mind, he was the president of a union, a very prestigious position, but he chose self-imposed poverty to dedicate his life to other people. I mean, that is the highest honor you can give people, is to dedicate your life to them. I've dedicated my life to working with the United Farm Workers, and I would like to encourage children out there to dedicate their lives to doing something for others. It's okay to go out there and make money and better your personal position in life, but don't forget where you came from, and don't forget that you have a responsibility to give some back to those who gave you so much, your parents, your family, and particularly your community.
And you're a living example of that too, Jose. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm here with Mark Gonzalez from City of Phoenix Finance, and we're talking about Cesar Chavez. Good to see you, Mark.
Thank you. Good being here.
Mark, tell us when you first met Cesar Chavez.
Jim, actually, I was introduced to Cesar probably in the late 60s, actually through books and reading. I was very much, he very much had an impression upon me just reading the books, what he believed in. And it just interested me to the point where I wanted to do more research and trying to find out more about the man. And this just grew into a great admiration towards Cesar. never knowing that I would later on in life have the opportunity to actually meet him. And that's basically how I was introduced to him.
So you studied about him first,
yes,
and then you finally got to meet Cesar Chavez. Tell us a bit about after you met him. Is there a particular thing you remember him by?
Well, I first was introduced to him formally through my good friend Ben Miranda at a fundraiser. I was asked to help assist in putting a scholarship fundraiser to underprivileged youth, and basically we brought in Cesar Chavez in and also Michael Carvajal for the fundraiser. And I had an opportunity to sit down and chat with him a while and just kind of pick at his brain and see exactly where he was coming from. And I just tell you, it was just like such an experience for me. I can't explain it to you in words. After reading and studying about him all these years, from the time I was a youngster to this point, I mean, it was just fascinating. And it was really fascinating to me to see that actually Cesar was a very simple man, and I just had so much admiration for him, and not only from the point of what he believed in, but I mean he was a good man, a good father, and a good husband. I had the opportunity to meet his family as well, and that was
down to earth and honest.
Yeah, he was very much down to earth, and this really enticed me to even just get involved. It's something that maybe I may have lacked a little of just the getting involved in certain things, because I pretty much led a sheltered life, growing up in the area that I lived in, and not really having much business getting out of maybe a 2 to 3 mile radius from where I lived. But just the point to where I met him just further enticed me to get out there and actually get involved in things that I believe firmly in, just as he did. And he was a very good mentor in that respect for me, getting involved in these activities.
And one of these activities, of course, was the education part that he was always very much in favor of.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that I did mention earlier, that he basically did come down for the scholarship fundraiser, and in the two events that we were working together, so to speak, they became quite successful, and we will continue having this scholarship fundraiser in the future. We do this in conjunction with Ben Miranda as well, and there's several other people that get involved in this, and I feel honored just to say I met the man, and I actually had an opportunity to work side by side with him in a worthy organization.
And also, of course, it's affected your life because now you're committed to doing these things. And what's the payback in that when you're helping people out like that?
Oh, the payback is just to see the finished product. Somebody actually takes advantage of these organizations, of the funding for school tuition, whatnot, and just to see the finished product and have somebody come back and tell me that if it wasn't for you or your organization going out there and pushing me, or just giving me that little extra push to get out there and succeed, I don't know where I'd be right now. And that in itself is just an absolute fulfillment for me, and I'm sure for the others that are involved with the organization.
And I'm sure Cesar is very proud that you're continuing this work that he started. So,
oh, I'm sure of it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good visiting with you.
Thank you, Jim.
Hi, I'm here with Francisca Cavazos, and we're talking about Cesar Chavez. Good to see you, Francisca.
Yes, nice to see you, Jim.
Francisca, tell us when you first met Cesar Chavez.
Well, I first heard about Cesar Chavez and the United Farm Workers in summer of '69, I believe. I remember my mom coming home one day, and I come from a farm worker background. She was working in the grapes, and she announced to the family that Cesar Chavez was organizing in Arizona over at the grapes fields over on 59th Avenue and behind Bell Road. And there was lots and lots of acres of grape fields in that location, and they were coming out on strike the next day. And that was my first mention, where I first learned of Cesar Chavez. The next summer
What year was
this was in '69.
Uh-huh.
The next summer, or the next spring, in Easter of 1970, I remember I was about 10 years old at the time, and I was very excited because Cesar Chavez, the movement had grown a lot here locally in western Maricopa County, and there was, Cesar Chavez was fasting, and there was a 4-day march that started that holiday weekend. Started on Thursday, and farm workers, thousands and thousands of farm workers marched from Avondale to Tolleson on Thursday, Tolleson to El Miraje on Friday, and on Saturday I got to march. I marched along with everyone else. There was many of us. We marched from El Mirage to Glendale, which was about 20 miles, and then on Sunday, on Easter Sunday, we marched from Glendale to Phoenix, to the state capitol, and had a big rally. And I was about 10 years old at the time. I was really hoping to meet Cesar. Unfortunately, due to the fast, that was not possible because Cesar at the time was quite weak. But it had, for me, as a child growing up, it had such a lasting impression, being able to look up to someone who was considered our leader, someone who was out there representing our community well, who had widespread support. And as a youth growing up, we need leaders. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was an inspiration to get involved, to become active, not just as a youth, but throughout my entire lifetime. And for me, it's been real key to know about Cesar Chavez, the United Farm Workers, but more importantly, in general, the farm worker struggle, because I do come from a farm worker background. Mm-hmm. So it had a lasting impression, and since then have been extremely active.
So you got to know Cesar Chavez over the years, too. Mm-hmm. How do you best remember Cesar Chavez?
Well, I remember Cesar Chavez as being someone who had a lot of vision, who had a lot of leadership, who had charisma, and who really inspired you to become involved. And if you were, for example, for me, I was in school, so the message for us was stay in school, mm-hmm. Much as it is today for our youth. But there was something uniquely about him, and he really told us, you have a sense of responsibility to yourself, to your community, and to society, that what you are doing now in school means a lot, not just to yourself, but when you get out. You must do something to help continue to uplift the rest of your family and your community, and that's what I remember most about him.
I don't know what to do, Mr. Jones. He wants to go to school. He says he wants to be educated. I don't know what to tell him. My other son left. We have no one else to help us.
He's been listening to that Chavez boy. Well, Francisco, do what you want. But getting schooling ain't gonna do a hill of beans to y'all.
What impacted the most in my life was that upon leaving college, Arizona State University, I did go to work with farm workers in the state of Arizona, and I worked with the farm workers for about 10 years, out there helping to organize strikes, helping to organize elections, helping to create some state legislation to better the working conditions of farm workers in the state of Arizona. And so I lived it as an experience for approximately 10 years in the community, actually with farm workers in the fields. When I was young, I worked in the fields, so I had that intimate relationship with what it means to be toiling the fields.
Mijito, you gotta be strong inside. Strength isn't how heavy of a load you can carry on your shoulders, but how much you can carry in your heart. it's going to be very heavy for you, mijo. Prepare your soul, for it's going to carry the most.
Hi, I'm here with Earl Wilcox. The subject is Cesar Chavez. Earl, you met Cesar in 1971 when he was already famous, and he was coming back to Arizona, actually, because he was born here. Tell us a little bit about those early years in 1971 and what was going on politically here in Arizona.
At that time, I was a young man, maybe 21, 22, and I was very idealistic about the world, and as a number of people at that time. And as you recall, the Vietnam War was at its peak, and I was working in the inner city. Alfredo Gutierrez and I had worked together to organize the Body Youth Project in South Phoenix. Also, Chicanos por la Causa was just beginning to get formulated. We also had, at that time, a very important educational issue with the Phoenix Union High School boycott. We were very concerned about the education as it related to the Hispanic community. And bilingual education was a big issue at that time. And we needed to address that at Phoenix Union High School. And we had some confrontations with the school board there. So we called for a major boycott. The other people that were involved with that were Jordi Lopez, Ronnie Lopez, Alfredo Gutierrez, myself. And then another agency that was very important that got its roots at that time was Valle del Sol, the Valle del Sol Narcotic Prevention Project. So in this community, we had a lot of organizing that was taking place in the early 70s. And I was mostly working out of the Body Youth Project. I had some relationship with Valle del Sol and Chicanos por la Causa and the boycott, but mainly it was organizing a youth organization with Alfredo Gutierrez at the Marcos and Isa area. And I think the whole energy that and the inspiration we got came from Cesar. Cesar was coming off the 60s with the huge success that he had with the grape boycott and organizing campesinos nationally. And we had seen for the first time in our community, we had had leaders that were very evident in our community, but never, ever to the scope of a Cesar Chavez.
A national hero.
Well, not only national, but international. Cesar was known internationally.
Could you describe the type of person Cesar Chavez was?
Well, I've often asked that question of a lot of people, is to describe Cesar. And I guess the best definition that I've been able to get from other people, the one that really sticks out is, it is perceived by many people in the clergy and by many people in the Catholic Church that he was almost near sainthood. That's the kind of life that he lived, is totally devoted to poverty. He never owned anything. He didn't own a car. The only thing that he owned was, his clothes. Dedicated his whole life to the articulation of the concerns of the campesino. And those are the people that are the least among us. Those are the people that work day in and day out to put food on the table for everybody else when they themselves would go to their own home and wouldn't have enough food to feed their own families. And that's the kind of problem that Cesar recognized, him experiencing that as a kid, his family owning a farm that they lost here in Yuma years ago. He grew up in that, and he had a special direct sensitivity to it and devoted his entire life to that cause. And I think people compare him as close to a saint as anything that we've experienced in our life, this generation.
Great. Thank you, Ron. Thanks for those thoughts, Cesar Chavez.
You're welcome.
Good to have you here.
Si se puede.
Si se puede. A poet is an artist who uses words for his palette. Hola, Raúl.
Hello, Jim. ¿Qué tal?
Raúl, tell us the first time that you met Cesar Chavez.
In 1964, in Yuma, Arizona, as I was picking grapes, I met a gentleman by the name of Cesar Chavez, a person that inspired me, a person that, with humanitarian qualities, that said to me one time, "Sí se puede. Sí se puede, Raúl, if you want to make a difference in society, if you get an education. Stay in school, and you'll see a change in your life." Since then, I have admired him because he has struggled, and really in reality, because of those inspiration words, I took him seriously, and I got an education. And not only did I get an education, I'm also helping others, because I do believe that education can bring change to your life.
Right. You know, you related a little bit of a story in that phrase, "Si se puede." Tell us of that incident when that was first used. And you said that Cesar really enjoyed it, and so did the audience, obviously, and so has everybody else now around the world has used that phrase, "Si se puede." Tell us a little bit about when that first happened.
Well, "Si se puede," like I said, is a phrase that Cesar Chavez used on me when I was asking him that I come from a very poor background, that no way I could afford to go to education, to get an education. And he said, you know, "Si se puede, Raúl." So I took that and made it into a poem describing him to me and the many contributions that he did for society. The story is that, you know, I was in New Orleans in 1980, and I was reciting it to about 5,000 people on a bilingual bicultural education conference. And the people invited me to recite "Si se puede." And I did, and to my surprise, Cesar Chavez was next door on the next conference room. And at the end of the poem, I saw a figure, and there he was. It was Cesar Chavez. And he asked me, you know, "Raúl, I want that poem." And he says, "In turn for that, I'll give you my book." And then he autographed it. I gave him my "Si se puede" poem. And since then, that phrase has been a very popular phrase that he has used. And it's now used throughout the world. And I think it's the words that he first got out of his mouth when I met him.
It's come to be really the anthem for people who want to do something, who have a hard job in front of them. "Si se puede" means it can be done.
It can be done.
Would you read that poem for us?
Seguro que sí. In Spanish, "Si se puede." Este poema, en 1964, dice así: "Decían que los de las milpas no merecían los mismos derechos que los demás. Cesar Chavez decidió cambiar esa idea, boicoteando las uvas y otras cosas más. Sí se puede. Decían que nunca ascendería un hispano a la legislatura. Ya se vieron ejecutando las leyes en Nuevo México, Florida, California, Chicago, Arizona, y qué dulzura. Sí se puede. Decían que no iba a haber derechos para las minorías. Se les voltearon los papeles a aquellos de malas teorías. Sí se puede. Decían que siempre nos tendrían abajo, como al campesino. Qué inocencia tan profunda, pues Cesar Chavez cambió ese mal trabajo. Sí se puede. No hay nada en este mundo que no se pueda vencer. Si nos proponemos, llegaremos todos juntos a establecer. Sí se puede. Vamos tomando ventaja de la educación que se nos ofrece, porque así habrá un cambio en nuestras vidas y cada uno de ustedes se lo merece. Sí se puede. Me alegro que todos comprenden lo que les quiero informarles, que seguirán con sus tareas y así podremos enseñarles. Sí se puede. Parece que veo la felicidad de todos nosotros y esto no nos duele. A lo contrario, amigos, arriba y adelante porque sí se puede, sí se puede. Muchas gracias.
Who's gonna miss me when I'm gone? Who's gonna say if I was right or wrong? Who's gonna cry for me too long? say if I